बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। जीअं त अॼु मां तव्हांखे लॉ गेट में हिकिड़ो सब्जेक्ट आहे जंहिंखे असां कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ पाकिस्तान चवंदा आहियूं। 1973 जो जेको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन आहे ऐं जेको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असांखे ज़ेड भुटे ॾिनो हुयो 1973 जे, ऐं उन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जे बारे में पढ़ंदासीं त कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कहिड़ा आर्टिकल अचनि था लॉ गेट में ऐं कहिड़ा आर्टिकल नथा अचनि। सभ खां पहिरियां द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन्स ऑफ इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ पाकिस्तान कंटेंट्स पढ़ंदासीं। सभ खां पहिरियों आर्टिकल, प्रीएम्बल ऐं पार्ट नंबर फस्ट पढ़ंदासीं। पार्ट नंबर फस्ट में असांजो उन खां पोइ इंट्रोडक्टरी जेको आहे अचे थो। द रिपब्लिक एंड इट इज़ टेरिटरीज़, इस्लाम टू बी ए स्टेट ए रिलीजन। द ऑब्जेक्टिव इहो फस्ट जेको आहे द रिपब्लिक एंड इट इज़ टेरिटरीज़, इहो फस्ट आर्टिकल आहे। ऐं सेकंड इस्लाम टू बी स्टेट रिलीजन, इहो सेकंड आर्टिकल आहे। ऐं टू वे जेको आहे द ऑब्जेक्टिव रेज़ोल्यूशन टू फॉर्म द पार्ट ऑफ सस्टेनेटिव प्रोविजन्स। ऐं उन खां पोइ असांजो जेको आहे एलिमिनेशन्स ऑफ एक्सप्लॉटेशन, 3 आर्टिकल। ऐं 4 आर्टिकल राइट्स ऑफ इंडिविजुअल टू बी डील विथ इन अकॉर्डिंग्स विथ द लॉ। ऐं 5 नंबर जेको आर्टिकल आहे लॉयल्टी टू स्टेट एंड ओबीडेंसी टू कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन्स एंड लॉ। ऐं 6 जेको असांजो जेको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो आर्टिकल आहे उहो हाई ट्रेज़न आहे। उन खां पोइ असां फंडामेंटल राइट्स एंड प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ पॉलिसीज़ में 7 नंबर जेको 7 आर्टिकल आहे असांजो डेफिनेशन्स ऑफ द स्टेट। चैप्टर नंबर फस्ट में असां फंडामेंटल राइट्स पढ़ंदा आहियूं, जेके फंडामेंटल राइट्स असांजा 8 आर्टिकल खां शुरू थियनि था। लॉ इनकन्सिस्टेंट विथ आर इन डिरोगेशन्स ऑफ फंडामेंटल राइट्स टू बी वाइड। ऐं 9 में असां सिक्योरिटी ऑफ पर्सन पढ़ंदासीं। 10 में असां सेफ गार्ड एज टू अरेस्ट एंड डिटेंशन। ऐं 10A में पढ़ंदासीं राइट टू फेयर ट्रायल। ऐं 11 में असां स्लेवरी फोर्स लेबर प्रोहिबिटेड। 12 में असां पढ़ंदासीं प्रोटेक्शन अगेंस्ट द रिट्रोस्पेक्टिव पनिशमेंट। 13 में पढ़ंदासीं प्रोटेक्शन अगेंस्ट डबल पनिशमेंट एंड सेल्फ इनक्रिमिनेशन्स। ऐं 14 में असां इनवायलेबिलिटी ऑफ डिग्निटी ऑफ मैन पढ़ंदासीं। ऐं 15 में असां फ्रीडम ऑफ मूवमेंट पढ़ंदासीं। ऐं 16 में फ्रीडम ऑफ असेंबली पढ़ंदासीं। ऐं जेको 17 में आहे फ्रीडम ऑफ एसोसिएशन पढ़ंदासीं। ऐं जेको 18 आर्टिकल आहे उहो फ्रीडम ऑफ ट्रेड, बिज़नेस आर प्रोफेशन्स। ऐं 19 जो जेको आर्टिकल आहे उहो फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच आहे। ऐं 19A राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन। ऐं 20 जो जेको आर्टिकल आहे उहो असांजो फ्रीडम टू प्रोफेस रिलीजन एंड टू मैनेज द रिलीजियस इंस्टीट्यूशन्स। ऐं 21 जेको आर्टिकल आहे सेफ गार्ड अगेंस्ट टैक्सेशन फॉर पर्पज़ ऑफ एनी पर्टिकुलर रीजन। ऐं उन खां पोइ असां 22 आर्टिकल आहे सेफ गार्ड एज टू एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन एंड रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ रिलीजन। ऐं जेको आहे 23 आर्टिकल प्रोविजन एज टू प्रॉपर्टी एंड 24 प्रोटेक्शन्स ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स। ऐं 25 इक्वलिटी ऑफ सिटीज़न्स। ऐं 25 जेको आहे राइट टू एजुकेशन। 26 नॉन डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ असेस टू पब्लिक प्लेसिस। 27 सेफ गार्ड अगेंस्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इन सर्विस। एंड 28 प्रिजर्वेशन्स ऑफ लैंग्वेज स्क्रिप्ट एंड कल्चर। उन खां चैप्टर नंबर 2 में जेको आहे प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ पॉलिसीज़। 29 में इहो आहे द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ पॉलिसी। 30 में रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ पॉलिसी। एंड 31 में असांजो इस्लामिक वे ऑफ लाइफ। 32 में प्रोमोशन्स ऑफ लोकल गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस। एंड 33 में परकोल एंड अदर सिमिलर प्रिजुडाइज टू बी डिस्करेज। एंड 34 में फुल पार्टिसिपेशन्स ऑफ वुमेन इन नेशनल लाइफ। ऐं 35 जेको आहे प्रोटेक्शन्स ऑफ फैमिली। 36 जेको आहे प्रोटेक्शन्स ऑफ मिनारिटीज़। ऐं 37 जेको आहे असांजो प्रोमेशन्स ऑफ सोशल जस्टिस। and eradications of social evils ऐं 38 में promotions of social and economic well-being of the people and 39 जेको असांजो participations of people in armed force ऐं जेको असांजो 40 आहे strength bonds with Muslim world and promoting international peace. हाणे फर्स्ट खां वेंदे 40 ताईं जेके आर्टिकल अची था वञनि इहे गेट में इन्हनि मां सवाल जेको आहे ईंदा रहंदा आहिनि इन खे असां हीअ त जस्ट तव्हांखे मां आर्टिकल जे बारे में ॿुधायो त घणा आर्टिकल आहिनि, पहिरियों आर्टिकल छा आहे, सेकेंड आर्टिकल छा आहे, थर्ड आर्टिकल छा आहे। हाणे उन जे बारे में असां जेको आहे 1 by 1 अलॻि अलॻि पढ़ंदासीं। पार्ट नंबर फर्स्ट इंट्रोडक्टरी जंहिंखे असां पार्ट चवंदा आहियूं, द रिपब्लिक एंड इट्स टेरिटरीज़। फर्स्ट जेको आहे पाकिस्तान shall be a federal republic to be known as the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, hereinafter referred to as Pakistan। उन खां पोइ असां हिन में इहो ॿुधायो अथई त पाकिस्तान जेको आहे फेडरल जेको आहे रिपब्लिक आहे, फेडरेशन्स आहे पाकिस्तान जी। दी टेरिटरीज़ ऑफ पाकिस्तान शल कंप्राइज़िस। हाणे फेडरल त थी वियो पर पाकिस्तान में घणा सूबा अची था वञनि उन जे बारे में पढ़ंदासीं। पाकिस्तान जी जेके हद आहे उहा केसीं ताईं आहे, कहिड़े सूबे जी केसि ताईं आहे, ऐं ओवरऑल जेकी एरिया आहे पाकिस्तान जी उहा घणी आहे। द प्रोविंस ऑफ बलूचिस्तान, द ख़ैबर पख्तूनख्वा, द पंजाब एंड सिंध फर्स्ट ए में, ऐं सेकेंड बी में द इस्लामाबाद कैपिटल टेरिटरी, हेयर एंड आफ्टर रेफर टू एज द फेडरल कैपिटल। एंड थर्ड जेको आहे द फेडरली एडमिनिस्ट्रेड ट्राइबल एरियाज़, ऐं जेको डी ऑप्शन आहे उन में चए थो सच एज स्टेट्स एंड टेरिटरीज़ एज आर मे बी इंक्लूडेड इन पाकिस्तान वेदर बाय सेशंस आर अदरवाइज़। उन खां पोइ हिन में फर्स्ट पॉइंट सेकेंड, हाणे थर्ड पॉइंट पढ़ंदासीं। द मजलिस ए शुरा जंहिंखे असां पार्लियामेंट चवंदा आहियूं, उनखे मे बी लॉ एडमिट इन टू द फेडरेशन न्यू स्टेट्स आर एरियाज़ on such a terms and condition as it thinks fit। यानी कि पहिरें आर्टिकल में असां पढ़ंदासीं त पाकिस्तान में घणा सूबा आहिनि, पाकिस्तान जी जेकी इहा गवर्नमेंट आहे, जेकी स्टेट आहे उहा कहिड़ी, जेको आहे यानी कि फेडरल गवर्नमेंट आहे। पाकिस्तान में 4 सूबा आहिनि। इन आर्टिकल असांखे ऐं पाकिस्तान जो जेको असांजी असेंबलियुनि जो आहे उहो जेको आहे मजलिस शुरा जेके असां चवंदा आहियूं। इस्लाम टू बी अ स्टेट अ रिलीजन। इस्लाम त रियासत जो मज़हब आहे, इस्लाम पाकिस्तान जो रियासत जो मज़हब हूंदो आहे। इस्लाम शल बी द स्टेट रिलीजन ऑफ पाकिस्तान। ऐं आर्टिकल नंबर 2 पढ़ंदासीं, द ऑब्जेक्टिव रेजोल्यूशन टू फॉर्म पार्ट ऑफ सब्सटेंटिव प्रोविजन्स। 2A द प्रिंसिपल्स एंड प्रोविजन्स सेट आउट इन द ऑब्जेक्टिव रेजोल्यूशन एंड रिप्रोड्यूस in the annex are hereby made substantive part of the constitution shall have effect accordingly। and eliminations of exploitation, the state shall ensure the eliminations of all forms of exploitation and the gradually fulfillment of the fundamental principle from each according to his ability to each according to his work। इहो असां हाणे असांजो 4 आर्टिकल आहे, राइट ऑफ इंडिविजुअल टू बी डील्ड विथ इन अकॉर्डिंग्स विथ द लॉ ETC। चौथों आर्टिकल आहे जो जेको फर्स्ट आहे उहो पढ़ंदासीं, टू एंजॉय द प्रोटेक्शन्स ऑफ लॉ एंड टू बी ट्रीटेड इन अकॉर्डिंग्स विथ लॉ इज़ inalienable right of every citizen wherever he may be and of every person for the time being within the Pakistan। हिन में चए थो हर हिकु माण्हू इंजॉय करे सघे थो लॉ जे मुताबिक़, ऐं जेको आहे यानी कि इन पर्टिकुलर्स चए थो पर्टिकुलर्स में असांजो ए अची थो वञे, नो एक्शन्स डिट्राइमेंटल टू द लाइफ लिबर्टी बॉडी रिप्यूटेशन्स आर प्रॉपर्टी। यानी कि ज़िंदगी लिबर्टी हुजे उनखे को माण्हू डिट्राइमेंटल डिस्टर्ब नथो करे सघे। प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ एनी पर्सन शल बी टेकन एक्सेप्ट इन अकॉर्डिंग्स विथ लॉ। large, सवाइ large, except in accordance with the law. B or no person shall be prevented from be hindered in doing that which is not prohibited by law. टियों आहे चए थो no person shall be compelled, को बि माण्हू कंहिंखे मजबूर नथो करे सघे to do that which the law does not require him, जेको law required न हुजे. इहा loyalty to state and obedience to constitution and law. सभ खां पहिरियां इन 5 आर्टिकल आहे. Loyalty to the state is the basic duty of every citizen. Obedience to the constitution and the law is inviolable obligations of every citizen wherever he may be and of every other person for the time being within the Pakistan. हाई ट्रेज़न जो केस यानी कि जेको आहे हाई ट्रेज़न जेकी थींदी आहे, हाई ट्रेज़न जो केस जंहिंखे असां मजलिस शुरा में जेको असांजो ख़ासि तौरु जेको आहे त हलंदो आहे. हाई ट्रेज़न 6 आर्टिकल. Any person who abrogate or subvert or suspend or hold in abeyance or attempt or conspire to abrogate or subvert, suspend, hold in abeyance the Constitution by use of force, show of force, by any other unconstitutional means shall be guilty of high treason. Second, you are any person aiding or abetting or collaborating the acts mentioned in clause shall likewise be guilty of high treason. And 2A, an act of high treason mentioned in clause 1st, clause 2 shall not be validated by any court including the Supreme Court and High Court. Third, असांजो आहे मजलिस शुरा जंहिंखे असां पार्लियामेंट चवंदा आहियूं, जंहिंमें सेनेट बची थी वञे ऐं नेशनल असेंबली बची थी वञे. बाय लॉ प्रोवाइड द पनिशमेंट ऑफ पर्सन फाउंड गिल्टी. जेकॾहिं हाई ट्रेज़न कंदो त उनजी पनिशमेंट छा आहे, सज़ा छा आहे. उन खां पोइ पार्ट नंबर सां 2 पढ़ंदासीं जंहिंमें असांजो जेको आहे फंडामेंटल राइट्स एंड प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ पॉलिसीज़. फंडामेंटल राइट्स एंड प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ पॉलिसीज़ में जेको आहे definitions of the state are. Article number 7. In this part, unless the context otherwise requires the state means the federal government, जंहिंखे असां मजलिस शुरा चवंदा आहियूं, पार्लियामेंट चवंदा आहियूं, provincial government, provincial assembly and such a local or other authorities in Pakistan is or by law empowered to impose any tax or cess. Chapter number 1, fundamental rights. Law inconsistent with or in derogations of fundamental rights to be void. ऐं हमेशह लॉ चए थो इन्हनि शयुनि खां मना कंदो आहे त को बि माण्हू कंहिंखे कंपेल, को बि माण्हू कंहिंजी आज़ादी जेको आहे नथो खसे करे, छो त कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट्स आहे माण्हू खे जेको असांखे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में ॾिनो वियो आहे. उन जे बारे में आर्टिकल नंबर 8 जेको आहे, एनी लॉ or any custom or usage having the force of law and so far as it is inconsistent with the rights conferred by this chapter shall to the extent of such inconsistency be void. मना थो करे, void लफ़्ज़ मना थो करे त को बि कानून, को बि कस्टम जेको आहे कंहिं माण्हू खे मजबूर नथो करे सघे, राइट्स जेको आहे, ऐं the state shall not make any law which takes away or abridge the rights so conferred, and any law made in contraventions of this clause shall to the extent of such a contravention be void. Trio number provision you are, the provisions of this article shall not apply to A. Any law relating to members of the armed force or the police of such other force is or charged with the maintenance of public order for the purpose of ensuring the proper discharge of their duties, the maintenance of discipline among them. B. Any of the laws specified in the first schedule as in force immediately before the commencing day or as amended by any law of specified in that schedule. उन खां पोइ other law specified in part of the first schedule, ॿिया बि law अची था वञनि, चए थो and no such a law nor any provisions thereof shall be void on the ground that such a law or provision is inconsistent with or repugnant to any provisions of this chapters. माना को बि ला अहिड़ो न ईंदो जेको माण्हुनि खे जेको आहे inconsistent हुजे, repugnant हुजे. चौथों आहे notwithstanding anything contained in paragraph of class 3 and within the period of 2 years from the commence day, the appropriate legislature shall bring the laws specified in part number 2 of the first schedule into conformity with the rights conferred by this chapter, provided that the appropriate legislature may be by resolution extend the said period of 2 years by period not exceeding 6 months. चलो वधि खां वधि जेको 2 years हूंदो, नॉट एक्सटेंड 6 जेको महीननि खां वधीक न हूंदो. And the rights conferred by this chapter shall not be suspended except as expressly provided by the constitution. उन खां पोइ असांजो सिक्योरिटी ऑफ पर्सन जे बारे में पढ़ंदासीं. जेको 9 आर्टिकल आहे उहो सिक्योरिटी ऑफ पर्सन्स आहे. नो पर्सन शैल बी डिप्राइव ऑफ लाइफ. कंहिं बि माण्हूअ खे जेको आहे ज़िंदगीअ में डिप्राइव नथो करे सघे या लिबर्टी सेव इन अकॉर्डिंग विथ लॉ जे मुताबिक़ उनखे लिबर्टी सेफ गार्ड एज टू अरेस्ट एंड डिटेंशन. आर्टिकल नंबर 10 जो सब रूल फर्स्ट. नो पर्सन हु इज अरेस्टेड shall be detained in custody without being informed as soon as may be of the ground for such arrest, and nor shall be denied the right to counsel and be defended by a legal practitioners of his choice. Every person who is arrested and detained in custody shall be produced before a magistrate. जेकॾहिं कंहिं माण्हूअ खे गिरफ़्तार कयो था, डिटेन कयो था, कस्टडी कयो था, बिफोर मजिस्ट्रेट विदिन द पीरियड ऑफ 24 आवर्स, 24 कलाकनि जे अंदरि तव्हांखे, और जंहिं माण्हू खे तव्हां अरेस्ट कयो आहे, गिरफ़्तार कयो आहे, त 24 कलाकनि जे अंदरि तव्हां उन माण्हूअ खे मजिस्ट्रेट में ज़रूरु जेको आहे ज़रूरु माना प्रेज़ेंट खे करिणो आहे. एक्सक्लूडिंग द टाइम नेसेसरी फॉर द जर्नी फ्रॉम द प्लेस ऑफ अरेस्ट टू द कोर्ट of the nearest magistrate, and no such a person shall be detained in custody behind the said period without the authority of magistrate. Subclass 10 jo 3, nothing in classes 1 and 2 shall apply to any person who is arrested or detained under any law providing for preventive detention. Article number 10 jo 4 rule, no law providing for preventive detention shall be made except to deal with person acting in a manner prejudicial to the integrity, security or defense of Pakistan or any thereof external affairs of public order, the maintenance of supplies service, and no such a law shall be authorized the detentions of a person for a period exceeding 3 months unless the appropriate review board, after affording him an opportunity of being heard in person, review his case and report it before the expirations of the said period. It is a opinion sufficient cause for such a detention, and if the detention is continue after the said period of 3 months, unless the appropriate review board has reviewed his case and reported before the expirations of each period of 3 months. It is opinion sufficient cause for such a detention. Explanation number first in this article, the appropriate review board means in the explanation article number asanjo 10 jo sub class 5 padandasi. So when any person is detained in pursuance of an order made under any law of providing for preventive detention, the authority making the order shall within the 15 days from such a detention communicate to such a person the grounds on which the order has been made, and shall afford him the earliest opportunity of making a representation against the order. छो त इन जो जेको आर्टिकल आहे उहो अरेस्ट एंड डिटेंशन जे बारे में आहे. अरेस्ट एंड डिटेंशन, प्रोवाइडेड that the authority making any such order may refuse to disclose fact which such authority consider to be against the public interest to disclose. The authority making the order shall furnish to the appropriate review and board all documents relevant in the case. Certificate signed by secretary to the government concerned to the fact that it is not in the public interest to furnish any document is produced. within a period of 24 hours month commencing on the day of his first detention in person of an order made under a law providing for preventing detention. No person shall be detained in person of any such order for the more than total period of 8 months. In the case of person detained for acting in a manner prejudicial to public order and tolio month in any other case, provided that this clause shall not apply to any person who is employed or by or works for acts and instruction received from the enemy who is acting or attempting to act in a manner prejudicial to the integrity or security or defense of Pakistan, any part thereof, and who commit or attempt to commit any act which amounts to any nation to an anti-national activity as defined in federal law, is a member of any association which has for its object, which includes in any such anti-national activity, का बि anti-national activity जेको आहे उनखे must be जेको आहे त डिटेन कयो वियो आहे त को बि माना पाकिस्तान जे ख़िलाफ़ पाकिस्तान लफ़्ज़ जे ख़िलाफ़ नथो ॻाल्हाए सघे. The appropriate review board shall determine the place of detention of person detained and fix a reasonable subsistence allowances for his family. Now you are nothing in this article shall apply to any person who for the time being is an enemy alliance. Right to fair trial. उनजे बारे में पढ़ंदासीं 10A. For the determinations of his civil rights and obligation in any criminal charge against a person shall be entitled to a fair trial and due process. Slavery, forced labor and prohibited. Slavery यानी कि खणी चइजे त गुलामी, फोर्स लेबर माना कंहिं माण्हू ते तव्हां कंहिं मज़दूर ते तव्हां पंहिंजो फोर्स अप्लाई नथा कयो. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल चए थो शुड बी प्रोहिबिटेड, मस्ट बी शल बी प्रोहिबिटेड, मना थो करे. Slavery is non-existent and forbidden and no law shall permit or facilitate its introduction into Pakistan in any form. को भी constitution मना थो करे. All forms of forced labor and traffic in human beings are prohibited. No child below the age of 14 years shall be engaged in any factory, any other hazardous employment. Nothing in this article shall be deemed to affect compulsory service by any person undergoing punishment for an offences against any law, required by any law for the public person. Provided no compulsory service shall be of a cruel nature are incompatible with human dignity, protection against the retrospective punishment. इहो retrospective punishment जे बारे में मुंहिंजो लेक्चर अॻु में बि आहे ऐं retrospective ऐं prospective. चए थो no law shall authorize the punishment of person for an act or omission that was not punishable by law at the time of act or omission, foreign offences by penalty greater than of kind different from the penalty prescribed by law for that offences at the time the offences were committed. Nothing in clause 1 in article 270 shall apply to any law making abrogation, subversion of constitution in force in Pakistan at any time. The 23rd day of March 1956 and offences. Protection against double punishment and self-incrimination. Protection सभ खां पहिरियां इहो बि 13 जेको आर्टिकल आहे, no person shall be prosecuted, punished for the same offences more than once, shall when accused of an offences be compelled to witness against him. Inviolability of dignity of man. असां माण्हूअ जी जेकी डिग्निटी आहे, इज़त आहे, एतिराम आहे, उनखे चए थो लॉ इनवायोलेबिलिटी, उनखे नथा करे सघूं असां. इन जी जेकी इज़त आहे, रेपुटेशन आहे, उन ते बि असांजो जेको आहे इम्पैक्ट कंहिं क़िस्म जी जेकी आहे. द डिग्निटी ऑफ मैन सब्जेक्ट टू लॉ, द प्राइवेसी ऑफ होम शैल बी इनवायोलेबल. नो पर्सन शैल बी सब्जेक्ट टू टॉर्चर फॉर द पर्पज़ ऑफ एक्सट्रैक्टिंग एविडेंस. उन खां पोइ असांजो आर्टिकल नंबर 15 आहे असांजो फ्रीडम ऑफ मूवमेंट. आर्टिकल राइट आहे, तव्हां फ्री जिते अचो जिते वञी सघो था. चयो त एवरी सिटीजन शैल हैव द right to remain and subject to any reasonable restriction imposed by law in the public interest, enter and move freely throughout Pakistan to reside and settle in any part thereof. Freedom of assembly, यानी कि article number 16, every citizen shall have the right to assemble peacefully and without harm, subject to any reasonable restriction imposed by law in the interest of public order. Freedom of association, 17, every citizen shall have the right to form association, union, subject to any reasonable restriction imposed by law in the interest of sovereignty or integrity of Pakistan, public order or morality. Every citizen not being in the service of Pakistan shall have the right to form, be a member of political party subject to any reasonable restriction imposed by law in the interest of sovereignty or integrity of Pakistan. Such a law shall provided that where the federal government declare that any political party has been formed or is operating in a manner prejudicial to the sovereignty or integrity of Pakistan, the federal government shall within the 15 days of such a declaration refer the matters to the Supreme Court, whose decision on such a refer shall be final. Every political party shall account for the source of its funds in accordance with the law. And freedom of trade, business or profession, he simple notes ठहियल आहिनि. हिननि में एतिरी जेको ॾुखियाई या कंहिं क़िस्म जा जेके आहिनि हू लफ़्ज़ माना जेको आहे डिफिकल्ट वर्ड्स में कोन्हनि यूज़ थियल, तमामु आसान लफ़्ज़नि में ठहियल आहे. ऐं जेको आहे मां इंग्लिश ॿुधाईंदो थो वञा, ऐं इंग्लिश तमामु आसान आहे, एतिरी ॾुखी कोन्हे जो हिनखे माना एक्सप्लेन कयूं. को लफ़्ज़ अचे थो जिते मां जेको आहे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन खे एक्सप्लेन कयां थो. फ्रीडम ऑफ ट्रेड, बिजनेस आर प्रोफेशन, 18, subject to such a qualification, if any as may be prescribed by law, every citizen shall have right to enter upon any lawful profession or occupation and to conduct any lawful trade or business, provided that nothing in this article shall prevent the regulations of any trade or profession by license systems, the regulations of trade, commerce, industry in the interest of free competition therein, the carrying and by the federal government or provincial government by corporation controlled by any such a government of any trade, business, industry or service to the exclusion, complete or partial of other persons. Freedom of speech, माना कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इहो राइट असां ॾेई सघे थो फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच. चए थो आर्टिकल नंबर 19, every citizen shall have right to freedom of speech and expression, and there shall be freedom of the press subject to any reasonable restriction imposed by law in the interest of the glory of Islam, the integrity, security or defense of Pakistan or any art thereof, friendly relations with the foreign state, public order, decency or morality, or in relation to contempt of court, commissions of incitement to be an offensive. Right to information भी हक़ आहे. Right to information, उनमें अचे थो every citizen shall have the right to have access to information in all matters of public importance subject to regulation and a reasonable restriction imposed by law. Freedom to propose religion and to manage a religious institution. Article number V are subject to law, public order and morality. Every citizen shall have the right to profess, practice and propagate as a religion. And every religion, denominations and every sect thereof shall have the right to establish, maintain and manage it as a religious institution. Safeguard against taxation for purpose of any particular religion. Article number 8, no person shall be compelled to pay any special tax, the proceeds of which are to be spent on the propagation or maintenance of any religion or other than his own right. You article number 8 I to safeguard as to educational institution in respect of religion. Article number 22 ऐं जेको आहे त असां ही नोट्स तमामु बहितरीनु ठहियल आहिनि. मां कोशिशि कंदुसि त जेको ही पेज आहे हिन ते बि जेको आहे शइ मां कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जा शेयर कयूं. ही VIP नोट. No person attending any educational institution shall be required to receive the religious instruction take a part in any religious ceremony, attend the religious worship. If such an instruction, ceremony or worship to relate religion other than his own. In respect of any religious institution, there shall be no discrimination against any community or in the granting of exemption or concession in relation to taxation, subject to law. No religious community denomination shall be prevented from providing religious instruction for pupils of that community or denominations in any educational institution maintained wholly by that community or denominations. No citizen shall be denied admission to any educational institution receiving aid from public revenues on the ground only of race, religion, caste or place of birth. Nothing in this article shall prevent any public authority from making provisions for the advancement of any socially or educationally backward class of citizen. Provisions as to property, article number 12. Every citizen shall have the right to acquire, hold and dispose of property. हर माण्हू खे हक़ आहे पंहिंजा प्रॉपर्टीअ जो त हू जेको प्रॉपर्टी सेल करे सघे थो, डिस्पोज करे सघे थो, विकिणी सघे थो, इहो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट आहे असांजो. Provisions for the advancement of any socially, educational backward class of imposed by law, dispose of property in any part of Pakistan subject to the constitution and any reasonable restriction imposed by law in the public interest. Protections of property right. Kira protection and property je bare mein. Article number 24. So no person shall be deprived of his property save in accordance to the law, and no person shall be compulsory occurred or taking the possessions of save for public purpose, and save by the authority of law, which provide for compensation therefore, and either fixes the amount of compensation or specify the principles on and the manner in which compensation is to be determined and given. And इन जा जेको आर्टिकल नंबर जेको 24 आहे उन जे बारे में असांजा ही रूल्स आहिनि, ए आ बी आ सी आ, ॾिसूं छा थो पढ़ूं. And nothing in this article shall affect the validity of any law permitting the compulsory acquisitions or taking possessions of any property for preventing danger to life, property or public health. या B are any law permitting the taking over of any property which has been occurred by or come into the possessions of any person by any unfair means in any manner contrary to law. C are any law relating to the acquisition, administration or disposal of any property which is deemed to be enemy property or evacue property under any law, not being property which has ceased to be evacue property under any law. Yeah, any law providing for the taking over of the management of any property by the state or for the limited period either in the public interest in order to secure the proper management of property for the benefit of its owner. यहाँ चलो any law providing for the acquisitions of any class of property for the purpose of providing education and medical aid to all or any specified class of citizens, providing housing and public facilities and service such as roads, water supply, sewerage, gas and electric power to all of any specified class of citizens. ये rights are तव्हांखे जेको आहे त जेको आहे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जेको रोड आहे, वाटर आहे, सप्लाई, इहो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट आहे असांजो. प्रोवाइडिंग मेंटेनेंस टू दोज हू ऑन अकाउंट ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, सिकनेस, infirmity, old age are unable to maintain themselves. Any existing law, any law made in pursuance of article number 253. The adequacy otherwise of any compensation provided for by any such a law is referred to in this article. Determine the pursuance thereof shall not be called questions of any. छो त लॉ गेट में पहिरें आर्टिकल खां 40 आर्टिकल ताईं कंटिन्यूअसली जेको आहे असां पढ़ंदासीं, कंटिन्यूअली जेको आहे, सही आहे. इक्वलिटी ऑफ सिटीज़न आर्टिकल नंबर 25 है. All citizens are equal before law, are entitled to equal protections of law. There shall be no discrimination on the basis of sex, Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any special provision for the protections of women and children. Right to education, Panjvi hai. The state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age of 5 to 16 years in such a manner as may be determined by law. No non-discrimination and respect of access to public places. Article number 26. In respect of access to place of public entertainment, resort not intended for religious purpose only, there shall be no discrimination against any citizen on the ground only of race, religion, caste, sex, residency, or place of birth. Yeah, nothing in class shall prevent the state from any special provision for women and children. हाणे असां जेको आर्टिकल आहे आर्टिकल 27 असां 40 ताईं तव्हांखे माना ही पहिरियों लेक्चर मुंहिंजो आर्टिकल 40 ताईं आहे ऐं सिंपल लैंग्वेज यूज़ कयल आहे सेफ गार्ड अगेंस्ट discrimination in service. There is no citizen otherwise qualified for appointment in the service of Pakistan shall be discriminated against in respect of any such appointment on the ground only of race, religion, caste, residency, and place of birth, provided that for the period not exceeding 40 years from commenced day, post may be reserved for person belong to any class or area to secure their adequate representation in the service of Pakistan, and provided further that in the interest of the said service specified posts or service may be reserved for members of either sex. Such a post or service entail the performance of duties and function which cannot be adequately performed by members of the other sex. Provided also that under the representations of any class area in the service of Pakistan may be redressed in such a manner as may be determined by any act of Majlis Shura Parliament. Nothing in class shall prevent any provincial government, any local other authority in province from prescribing relation to any post class of service under that government authority condition or as to residency in the provinces for period not exceeding 3 years prior to appointment under that government or authority. And article number 28 पढ़ंदासीं preservation of language, script and culture. Subject to article number 251, any section of citizen having distant language, script, culture shall have the right to preserve. And simple as जेको असांजो कल्चर आहे उहो हर कंहिंखे अपनाए करणु उन ते कंहिं क़िस्म जी जेकी आहे त जेको आहे have the right to preserve and promote the same subject to law established institution for that purpose. हाणे पॉलिसीज़ जेके आहिनि असां पढ़ंदासीं चैप्टर नंबर 2 में प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ पॉलिसीज़ आर्टिकल नंबर 29. The principles set out in this chapter shall be known as the principles of policy. It is the responsibility of each organ and the authority of the state and of each person performing function on behalf of an organ, authority of the state to act in accordance to those principles and so far as they relate to the functions of the organ or authority. And so far as observance of any particular principle of policy may be dependent upon resources being available for the purpose, the prince shall be regarded as being subject to the validity of resources. And in respect of each year, the president in relation to the affairs of federation, and the governor of each province in relation to the affairs of his province, shall cause to be prepared laid before each house of the parliament, as the case may be the principle of policy, and provision shall be made in the rules of the procedure of National Assembly and the Senate, as the case may be provincial for discuss such a report. इहो आर्टिकल नंबर 29 आहे ऐं असां अॼु तव्हांखे जेको आर्टिकल नंबर 40 जे बारे में ॿुधायूं 40 जेको आहे 40 ताईं जेको आहे ही इम्पॉर्टेंट आहे responsibility with respect to principles of policies. The responsibility of deciding whether any actions of organ or authority of the state of person performing function on behalf of an organ or authority of the state is in accordance with the principle of policies that of organ, authority of the state or of the person concerned. The validity of an actions of law shall not be called in question on the ground that it is not in accordance with the principle of policy. No action shall lie against the state, any organ, authority of the state, or any person on such a ground. हाणे आर्टिकल 31 खां असां जेको शुरू कंदासीं इस्लामिक वे ऑफ लाइफ. Islamic way of life. Steps shall be taken to enable the Muslims of Pakistan individually and collectively to order their lives in accordance with the fundamental principle and basic concept of Islam, and to provide facilities whereby they may be enabled to understand the meaning of life according to Holy Quran and Sunnah. The state shall endure as respect the Muslims of Pakistan, to make the teachings of the Holy Quran and Islamiyat compulsory, to encourage and facilitate the learning of Arabic language, to secure the correct and extent parenting and publishing of the Holy Quran, to promote unity and the observance of the Islamic moral standard, to secure the proper organizations of zakat, uh, Shira and Okuf and Mas. Promotions of local government institution, Article Batria. The state shall endorse local government institution composed of elected representative of the area concerned. Such an institution, special representation will be given to person, workers and women. Parochial and other similar prejudice to be discharged. The state shall discourse the parochial, racial, tribal, sectarian, and provincial prejudice among the citizens. Full participations of women in national life. Hane article number 40. Steps shall be taken to ensure full participation of women in all spheres of national life. Protections of family pantry. The state shall protect the pantry article, protect the marriage, the family and mother and the child. Protections of minorities. The state shall safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of minorities, including their due represent in the federal and provincial service. Promotions of social justice and eradications of social evils. Sanju eradications mana evil social evils केड़ी बुराइयों हैं. The state shall माना लाजमी must. शल जॾहिं लफ़्ज़ अची थो वञे न कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में या आर्डर्स में या असांजो ॿियो CPC CRP में सम्झाने की मस्ट उहा शइ थींदी हुन में रिआयत न आहे शल में. The promote with the special care the education and economic interest of backward class of areas. Remove the illiteracy and provide free and compulsory secondary education within the minimum possible period. Make a technical and professional education generally available and higher education equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. Ensure inexpensive and expeditious justice. Make a provision for securing just and human conditions of work, ensuring that children and women are not employed in a vocation and suited to their age, sex, and for maternity benefit of women employment. Enable the people of different areas through the education, training, agricultural and industrial development, other matters to participate fully in all forms of national activities, including employment in the service of Pakistan. Prevent prostitution, gambling and taking of injuries, drugs, printing, publication, circulation and display of obscene literature and advertisement. Prevent the consumption of alcoholic liquor otherwise than for medicinal and the case of non-Muslim religious purpose. Decentralize the government instruments so as to facilitate the expedient disposal of its business to meet the convenience and the requirement of public. Promotions of social and economic well-being of the people. The state shall secure the well-being of the people irrespective of sex, caste, creed, race by raising their standard of living, by preventing the concentration of wealth and means of production and distribution in the hands of a few to the detriment of general interest, and by ensuring the total adjustment rights between employees and landlords and tenants. Provided for all citizens within the available resources of the country, facilitated for work adequate livelihood with reason, rest and means. Provided for all persons employed in the service of Pakistan, social security by compulsory social insurance, other means. Provide basic necessity of life such as food, clothing, housing, education, medical relief for all such as irrespective of sex, caste, creed of race, as are permanent temporarily unable to earn their livelihood on account of infirmity, sickness, or employment. Reduce disparity in the income and earning of individual, including person, in the various classes of the service of Pakistan. Eliminate riba as nearly as possible. Ensure that the shares of provinces in all federal service, include autonomous bodies and corporations established under the control of federal government shall be secure. Any omission of allocations of shares of the foreigners in the past shall be rectified. Participations of people in armed force. Sub in right on it. The state shall enable people from all parts of Pakistan to participate in the armed force, strength bonds with Muslim world and promoting international peace. 40. The state shall endure to preserve strength relation among Muslim countries based on Islamic unity, support the pro-international peace and security, foster friendly relating among all nations, encourage settlement of international issues by peaceful means. ही असांजा आर्टिकल हुया जेके मां तव्हांखे ॿुधाया त पहिरें खां 40 ताईं ऐं जेको आहे कोशिशि कयो हिन शइ खे ॿुधो ऐं कोशिशि कयो नोट बि कयो इहा शइ आर्टिकल जेके मां पढ़िया आहिनि लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब